Hi.
My name is Amanda Sorrells. I am a member
do you
of Texas
represent?
for Vaccine Choice.
And
I'm
your
representing
position?
myself, and I'm opposed to the bill. Now, I have a lot of things to say that everybody else has covered, but the biggest takeaway that I want you to understand today is that my children, both of my girls, go to a small school. And because they are unvaccinated and we have been singled out, I have been harassed. I have been told that I should be killed. I have been told that I abuse my children. I have been told that my children should be taken away from me. I have been told that I'm a horrible mother. And this is all because of a vaccine choice. This isn't even a choice that I was allowed to make. My children are genetically predisposed to vaccine injury. They have autoimmune diseases, and they both have genetic mutations. Thank you for your time. I'm opposed to this bill.
Members, any questions for this witness? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
If you'll please state your name, who you represent, your position on the bill.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Jennifer Lewis, and I'm a member of Texans for Vaccine Choice. I'm speaking against House Bill 2249. Chairman,
Ms. Lewis, you also are registered on your own behalf, so are
Yes.
you representing both Texans for Vaccine Choice and yourself?
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And you just said you're testifying against the bill.
Against.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Price and honored members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am a chemical engineer and a mother of 3 children. My middle child had an adverse reaction to a vaccine and was subsequently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease 1 month after that reaction. As the parent of an immunocompromised child, I do appreciate the intent of this bill, I really do, to provide parents with information that might improve their ability to make medical decisions for their children. However, I do think the bill makes a very misguided presumption that children with vaccine exemptions are responsible for spreading disease and that vaccinated children are protected and unable to transmit disease. We don't have to look far to see disease outbreaks in highly vaccinated populations. Just last month, Cedar Hill High School in Dallas, Texas, reported 27 students and staff were diagnosed with the mumps, and all of them were fully vaccinated. In my own family, I have discovered that vaccination does not always provide immunity. 2 of my children had the full Hep B schedule of vaccines, and both of them have lab confirmation of 0 antibodies to Hep B. While my children do not need an exemption for this shot, they are also not immune. And this is not just happening to my children. Vaccines often fail to confer immunity for others. And a recent study suggests that a plausible explanation for whooping cough resurgence is actually asymptomatic transmission from the recently vaccinated. I am very concerned that House Bill 2249 will increase the probability of a child's private medical information being compromised, and that children and families across Texas will be singled out, harassed, and discriminated against. If a parent registers their children at a school where the number of children utilizing exemptions is low, it would be all too easy for other parents to deduce that that new family has vaccine exemptions. Are we willing to accept this risk? Even if we assume that we are willing to sacrifice medical privacy in Texas for the sake of public health, I do think there is other information more relevant, such as the number of students infected with HIV, hepatitis, and Lyme, and the number of children who receive live vaccines that can put the medically fragile at risk due to shedding. I want to thank you for your time and consideration. I appreciate that your job is very difficult, and as a parent of an immunocompromised child, I beg you to consider the unintended consequences of this bill. It does nothing to improve public health in Texas, and at the same time increases the risk of medical privacy breaches, bullying, harassment, and discrimination. Please vote no on House Bill 2249. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Zedler has a question. Excuse me, 1 second.
Listen, thank you for being here. And so let me ask you, what I'm hearing from you saying is, first of all, your child was vaccine injured.
She was.
And the other thing is that the greatest risk you fear is a child that's been recently vaccinated with a live vaccine.
Yes.
And that has nothing to do with this report, does it?
No, this report does not, the bill does not recommend reporting children
you.
with live vaccines. No, thank you.
Any additional questions of this witness? Thank you, Ms. Lewis. We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being here. Thank you for your written testimony as well.
My name is Daphne Hager. I represent Texans for Vaccine Choice as well as myself, and I am speaking against the bill.
Please proceed.
Chairman Price and honored members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Due to having a family history of vaccine injury, witnessing my oldest son's own vaccine injury, and my second son being medically fragile, my family exercises its right to the conscientious exemption. My oldest child attends a public school with a small population in one of Houston's most affluent neighborhoods as a transfer student. Sorry. Our district has an exemption rate of 0.73% per the 2016 reports. At this rate, it is reasonable to conclude that my son may be the only one, or one of very few, with an exemption at his campus. If campus-level reporting were made available, I firmly believe that it would be easy for other parents to deduce that my son is carrying an exemption. The neighborhood is a tight-knit community, and parents know each other well, or make it a point to find out what they can. It is no secret that my family makes choices that fall in line with natural parenting, quote-unquote. Exposing the number of exemptions at the campus level to the public would cause my family to be vulnerable to speculation, judgment, and yes, even discrimination. My child's acceptance as a transfer student at his school comes down to one thing: the whim of the principal. Transfer students are already held in disdain by parents at the school, and there is a known history of parents questioning the principal's decisions on who she lets in from outside school of the school's attendance zone. If enough parents came to her to complain about an unvaccinated child being let onto the campus, whether their fears are unfounded or not, my fear is that it would influence her approval decision each year for my son. Still, even if she did hold firm, I fear that there could be a trickle-down effect of bullying between children by the influence of their parents. Honored members, just as Texas continues to protect the medical records of those with known communicable diseases such as HIV, I implore you to please continue to protect the private medical records of healthy Texan children and families like my own. Please vote no on House Bill 2249.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
You did a good job of balancing all that. Are there any questions, members? Thank you. We appreciate your testimony. Thanks for your testimony today.
I'm Lacey Hull. I'm a member of Texans for Vaccine Choice, and I'm also representing myself.
And your position on the bill?
Opposed.
Okay. Please proceed.
Chairman Price and honored members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm a proud Texan and a proud military wife. I am so thankful for my husband, who fought for my rights. One right being to be able to speak before you today. The Marine Corps took us out of Texas for many years, and after serving for 12 and a half years, we were so excited to come home to Texas, home to a state that preserves individuals' freedoms and liberties. My son is one that this bill is supposedly designed to protect. After extensive testing, his doctors concluded he should never be vaccinated due to his unique genetic makeup and a predisposition to a seizure disorder. He qualifies for a medical exemption, and I am adamantly against this bill. My heart goes out to the families with children who are so medically fragile, the common cold would cause them serious harm. While I am thankful my child is well enough to attend school, the reality is that severely immunocompromised children would be receiving homebound school services. Since these children would not be in a classroom setting, the campus level exemption information this bill requires does nothing to protect them. My son is my responsibility. It is my responsibility to keep him safe and healthy. The responsibility for my son does not fall on the state or any other family, and I would never rely on the herd to keep my son safe. Even de-identified information about my son's exemption is not information any other family or the public should have access to. If this is truly about protecting the medically fragile, then why is this campus level information be on the state's website for all of Texas to see instead of just those families with medically fragile children? All children are equal. All children's medical information deserves to be protected. This includes children with HIV and hepatitis B who have the potential to spread the illness, children who are healthy and not vaccinated, and children who are too medically fragile to be vaccinated. Why is it this bill is aimed at protecting the medically fragile, yet will still violate their medical privacy rights by including those with medical exemptions in the report? Honored members of the committee, I ask you to value all children and their private medical information. Sorry, I get emotional with my son. My child and children like mine who can't be vaccinated are not more important than any other child, and vice versa. All children matter. Please vote no on House Bill 2249. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
testimony.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Holt? We really do appreciate you being here.
Sorry for getting emotional.
That's okay. It happens
It's about
a lot,
my son. It
but
makes
it's
me
fine.
emotional.
Yeah, no problem at
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Shahan. I am here representing Texans for Vaccine Choice and myself, and I am speaking against this bill. Chairman Price and honored members of the committee, thank you for letting me speak today. I'm a mother of 6 kids, and I have ceased having my children be vaccinated following vaccine injury to 2 of my oldest kids. Since deciding to stop vaccinating, we have had to worry about who will find out that we're non-vaxxed and how they would respond. I, as a mother, have been harassed, and my children have been segregated out of events and playgroups for not having vaccines. People that don't quite understand that a child can be healthy without being vaccinated treat my children like walking diseases, despite the fact that my children are exemplary healthy. Vaccination decisions should always remain confidential, and even de-identified information is a violation of medical privacy. By letting out what should be private information, we are setting exempted families up for harassment, bullying, segregation, and yes, even unnecessary CPS reports. I know this as my family has been the victim of these on numerous occasions. Even a CPS report when an unnamed person found out we didn't vaccinate and reported us to CPS. Yes, the case was eventually closed as they found no evidence of medical neglect. But during those weeks of investigation, my kids were frightened. I was overly anxious as to what would come of the case. I watched my children cry. I've had to give my children the answer, why would someone do this to us? Deal with my children's having nightmares, etc., until the case was closed. My kids shouldn't have to be worried about this kind of thing happening again, nor should my friends and acquaintances I have who have had similar situations happen to them have to worry about this happening to them again. I can imagine many circumstances where even de-identified information would allow an individual to easily deduce the identity of the exempted children. If this bill passes, it will let out information about exempted families and open up the floodgates for more of these types of situations to happen. My kids don't need that. Other people's kids don't need that. CPS, who is already overloaded with cases, don't need to be wasting their time with cases like this. They need to be freed up to deal with real cases of neglect and abuse instead of being used as a tool for bullying exempted families. Will sharing this information be helpful to control and prevent diseases? Doubtful. But what is for sure is that the release of this information will most certainly cause harm to exempted families. Please vote no to House Bill 2249. Thank you.
Thank you. That's fine.
We've been here for a while. My name is Rachel Davis, and I am a member of Texans for Vaccine Choice. I'm also here representing myself, and I'm here today to speak against the bill. Chairman Price and honored members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'd like to speak to the privacy and safety issues this presents to the families of exempted children. Proponents of this bill claim the goal is to protect medically vulnerable children, but what they fail to acknowledge is that this bill would create a new and likely much larger group of children who would be vulnerable in a different way. The bill places the safety and well-being of one group of children above the safety and well-being of the whole, and allows for the creation of an environment of division and hostility among those in otherwise peaceful, close-knit communities. It's my opinion that the goal of this bill is to create a situation where families utilizing exemptions are bullied simply for following their deeply held beliefs. Harassment, bias, and retaliation against their children is a real threat. It might appear that such de-identified campus reports would be harmless. However, these bills do not define to what level the exemption information would be de-identified. A parent could easily deduce if there were exempted students in their child's grade or classroom. Even at large campuses, this could be easily figured out. The bill requires that parents would be made aware of the number of conscientious and religious exemptions versus the number of medical exemptions. Why is it necessary to make this distinction? An exempted student is an exempted student, period. This distinction only makes sense if the goal is to set the stage for discrimination against a student or a group of students. I was told by a mother in Frisco ISD that a Frisco Facebook page once posted the campus level exemption information. I would have liked to provide proof of that to you, but the site took it down because of the amount of threats made against the exempted children and their families. In case there's any doubt about the validity of the fear that parents like me feel when faced with the possibility of being outed, the following quotes are actual statements made to local parents of unvaccinated children. If I catch a disease, then when I'm over this illness, I'm coming to your house and beating the brakes off you for being irresponsible and putting my life in danger. God help your expletive if my kid gets sick. Your kid should be branded on her forehead, and I would gladly do it myself. I'm going to laugh when your kids die. I'm going to make it my personal mission to hunt you down and make sure CPS takes your children and gives them to someone who won't abuse them by not vaccinating.
He was looking right.
You're too stupid to be a nurse. You should be stripped of your license. Your kid is an expletive, ugly, dumb expletive, and I hope she catches the measles and dies. You and your husband should be sterilized. You deserve to be shot. You're irresponsible, uneducated mother. You don't deserve to have kids. Every parent who doesn't vaccinate their children should be arrested and killed. You and your disease-ridden kids should be sent to a third world country to die. I don't care if a vaccine hurts your kid. It's worth it if your kids die to protect the general population. Excuse me. Your baby deserves to die. If I had known your children were vaccinated, I would have never allowed my children within 100 feet of them. They may not look sick, but your kids are disease-ridden and should not be allowed in public. You're crazy as the F word. These comments were made by otherwise rational people. Fellow parents, doctors, college professors, our own family members, and even an elected state representative. I urge you to vote no on House Bill 2249.